Hello guys, thanks for being with us. I am Brett. This is another episode of the What You Saying. I've got Frankie here with me, who goes by DJ Uproar.
Pleasure to be here today, my mate. I've been looking forward to this all week.
Thank you for being here. We haven't mentioned you on the podcast before. Obviously, you're the founder of Bushido. What stemmed it? Like, what was the spark that was like, let's do some DJing?
So my entire adult life from the age of 18, I've always worked in clubs, bars, the nightlife sector, should we say. I've done everything, handing out flyers, working for other promoters, glass collecting in different venues, worked on different bars between clubs and even down to little speakeasies and cocktail side of things. But the most enjoyment I ever had was working at big venues that would hold bass music events. I've always enjoyed that sort of high energy, high octane atmosphere. Obviously, when you're younger and you're that age, you kind of feed off of that adrenaline in the room. And it was just a really intoxicating sort of situation to be in for me. I found all my energy came out in a really positive way there, and it's always reflected really well when the crowd are enjoying it as well. Back then, it was sort of the peak of dubstep, 10 years ago, sort of Benga, Koki, Scream, when Nero was topping the UK charts. And we used to throw dubstep nights with a collective called Awuga, shout out to the old crew, at Tokyo, which is unfortunately now closed. It's had a few names since then, but the Constitutional Club in Lincoln, the big red brick bad boy building, we used to have the Function One sound system in there.
Is that down in the basement?
Yeah, we had the basement gigs, did a few in the main room, and one of their terrace bars as well, the Rum Shack, and a few of the guys that are now still part of the key implements of Bushido are old DJs and producers that I used to work with and party with back then when we were at university age. We're all old guard now. We're all losing our hairlines here and there.
Seems to be a big thing again amongst men, is that a hairline. Everyone's going on about hairlines and stuff, and it's I got a fringe.
Yeah, 100%, man. I got a real nice collection of hats, so I think I'll cruise it through for a few more years. I'll brave the shave eventually.
Well, that's where, to be fair, I first met you when you were working at Load of Lows. I mean, it's now Pop World.
Yeah, good few moons ago. That was a place that had a real good energy about it. Sort of that playful atmosphere of everything being tiki and Hawaiian. But I mean, we used to have some really good parties down there. That venue used to be Sakura, and it was a Japanese bar. Before then, I mean, I was going in there when I was 17, man, many moons ago. But the likes of Netsky had played there, London Electricity, High Contrast had played music there throughout the times, and Lincoln's cool because there's always sort of been a spot, a little corner of Lincoln where the underground music's been showcased. But until these recent years, man, coming out of lockdown, it's really on the map now. A lot of big labels are now coming over here, international names. I've been to some gigs at the Engine Shed in years past where you'd have a Hospital Records night and there's 200 people in there, dude. Really poor turnouts. And now to see Hybrid Minds selling it out, to see Wilkinson posting up in there, worried about Henry's taking it on as a venue for gigs throughout the year.
They're doing that, and to be fair, when they put them on there, it's really good at the Engine Shed. I remember Shy FX when they were there, and they had the pyrotechnics that I wasn't expecting. So as soon as they went off, being the fucking pyrotechnic I am, I'm always playing with fire. They went off, I was screaming, I was no way.
Holding onto your eyebrows at the front. No, don't take them from me.
My eyebrows are delicate anyway because of ginger. So you can see the shadow of where they cast, and that's about it.
God bless you, bro. Smart though.
So where did Uproar come from? Is that the name? Because obviously choosing a DJ name, you get one and you kind of stuck with it, aren't you?
It's changed over time. So obviously, some of the listeners will know, some of them will be new to this information. I'm predominantly a jungle DJ when I play out. I like really high octane drums and low bass lines. I like that old sort of ragga vibe and the sort of cultural heart of D&B to come through in the set. So I want people to be cuddling each other, swinging each other around. But initially, as a raver, I was a huge Neurofunk fan, man. I was an absolute fanboy of Noisia. I mean, their label Vision. And for a long time, their podcasting show, Noisia Radio, was what I'd queue into every month to find the producers I wanted to get into. And it was that deep gurgly, experimental D&B, that sort of like primitive side, that it really sort of fed into my olden days of being a metalhead. You know, that sort of like horror movie music almost. But when you play that out in the booth, you see what it does to the ravers, and it's a positive reaction, but it's people jumping around, throwing each other around. It's a bit more of a violent atmosphere almost, I'd say, at times.
Yeah.
And then I moved into the jungle side of things just through interest of trying new genres, and seeing the way people were smiling, swinging each other around, seeing all the women with their arms in the air, having a great time, hips are wiggling. It felt more like the atmosphere I wanted to put out on the dance floor, and I'm a big fan of playing tracks coming up and down throughout a set, using the build-ups, going for those big doubles, the big euphoric feelings, and that's sort of where the root of the name Uproar came from, because that's like the atmosphere I want to put out to the dance, is I want to cause an uproar on the dance floor.
Nice.
But prior, when I used to play Neurofunk, I used to call myself One-Eyed Frankie.
One-Eyed Frankie.
It's an old alter ego, an old a drunken nickname, should we say?
Sounds like a euphemism.
Days. Well, that question's been thrown past me before, man. But yeah, when I used to be in the bar scene, bartending, running shifts at different clubs and venues, when I would have my few drinks at the end of the night, my blood pressure would just skydive and my right eye would close. And you know when you're like trying to not see double in the kebab shop?
Yeah.
And that's usually the time of night where I'd start doing really hilarious things, and my friends sort of donned that he's not going to remember this, it's not him, it's One-Eyed Frankie. So people would buy me drinks and be like, oh, when's One Eye coming out? So yeah, that was sort of the initial head nod as a nickname I wanted to go with. It's been a gamer tag of mine for years as well.
Yeah.
And then as I started to take myself more seriously, and I was sort of come out of the learning stage and started to try and like find a sound, I wanted a name that was more like on brand for what I was trying to do out there, you know?
So you said you've already got like experience in like venues and putting venues on. Do you think that made it easier to make the decision to start Bushido?
Oh yeah, man. So like as like a PR manager at certain venues, assistant managers at others, etc. Being on the management team, you get promoters that come into venues, and you can see the errors they make over time. You can see their shortcomings. You can see which ones shine through and for what reasons, and that kind of helps you like pick out the parts that are essential and that aren't essential. There's a lot of ego involved in music, especially in the event side of things. Especially for some promoters, unfortunately, it kind of spoils it for themselves and for others that come to their events. It's one of the reasons that we named the brand Bushido, which is, for some people will know, the code that the samurais were taught. The Bushido warrior code is their teachings, their lifestyle, the way they hold themselves.
Okay, so it's like what, like a way of life?
Yeah, so like respectful conduct, being honourable, always wanting to keep the family name clean, never tarnish the family name. So like, if people are representing Bushido, whether it be at a Lincoln gig or over in Leicester or Nottingham or something like that, it's always, you have a clean slate, you look after that place, you're respectful, do some good networking, you don't party too hard, you know what I mean, like almost like you're within office hours almost. Like there's a standard that we want to hold ourselves to be seen, because I mean, I don't know about some people, but you go to some events and you're like, oh dude, this event's cooking, like this is awesome, who's the promoter? And they're like, oh, it's that guy, and you look over and this is a drunken mess in the corner that's trying to chat up a bar stool with no one sat on it, you know?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you can have too much fun at your own party, and I think that it tarnishes a bad image. There needs to be at a certain level of professionalism, like that warrior code. Exactly.
Plus, it sets a good precedent with the ravers. Like, if you're like being like respectful and stuff, because like you get a couple of, like, we call them townies that come into like raves and stuff.
Yeah.
And they just
that term around before.
Exactly. They just don't have the right etiquette. And it's like they'll barge past you kind of thing, and it's like, look, if you just say excuse me, I'll move. Like there's no time. It's not prevalent though. Like, it's not like too prevalent. It's like you get one every other rave kind of thing, but like really you want it to be like a nice, wholesome, like inclusive, you know, kind of like family. Because like I'll see so many people at different raves, and it'll always be a good experience.
Yeah, with the scene, it is difficult, because when you have that sort of party culture, it will attract a big eclectic crowd. And I mean, the world's a cactus. The more you move around, you're eventually going to find a few pricks.
Yeah.
And when you're bringing a few hundred people to an event, there's always going to be a few rotten apples. But I think if the general consensus is that people point this out to promoters and staff, and to DJs as well, if someone's misbehaving in the booth, causing a bit of an issue, then the sooner that can be that cancer can be cut out, the better. And then it really does clean up the atmosphere in a room. If there's one person throwing elbows on a dance floor, they're ruining it for themselves. But maybe 20 or 30 people around them, that's the memory that'll stick with them through that night, and then they'll tell their friends about it the next day, and then before you know it, there's 40 people that have been turned off from your event moving forward.
Exactly, and at the end of the day, it's just unnecessary, because like you're all there for the same reason, just to have a laugh, like have some time with your mates, kind of thing, have a boogie. There's no need for that kind of stuff. But luckily, I don't come across it that often. I don't know if it's because I normally go like front left. That's where I belong.
That's where all the veterans are, bro.
Really?
All the veterans. Oh yeah, front left's a thing, man. There's songs written about it and all sorts. Because
I think I've seen like a diagram, like all the newbies go to the right, like just like people who want to like be seen by the DJ go in the middle, and also all the oldies at the back.
Yeah, 100%. All the dodgy knees at the back. Do you know what I mean?
I can't like begin to like count how many like photos I've got of events of just like you zoom in and it's like there I am. It'll be like my shades or my hat. That's what I'll get, like, because I've got like a bit of white writing on my bucket hat. It always spot me out, and it's like there I am. Yeah, man. As
a younger raver, whenever I was at a festival, I'd always want to be at the barrier at the front, because I'd sort of set off and I'd be like, right, I'm not coming back to this tent till the music has stopped. But it's sort of strategic in the essence that if you can get hold of that barrier, there's normally a little step on the other side. You can check your little rucksack down there, a little bottle of water, and you kind of hang on to that barrier for dear life if you are starting to get knackered. But if you're in the middle of the dance, constantly correcting yourself, getting pushed about, it can be super tiring, man. So I'd recommend to anyone out there, that's feeling a little bit puffed out at a party, is find yourself a nice little spot on the barrier, man, and pitch in.
I tell you what, I have relied on that bit in Void quite often, where it's like, because I especially when it's like people that I love as well, like what was it? It was Andy C that I was going hard for, because like I've said on the podcast before, I missed him at Leeds Fest. He was playing twice. I knew that I wasn't going to get to him the first show that he did. The second show, I was like, right, got it timed out and everything. And then they move his time, and I'm like, oh, God's sake. So when he was playing there, I was hyped. Good, and I was literally hanging on to stuff, because I was like literally just going nuts, because he's so good at what he does. So what can we expect in terms of expansion? Because you've gone through like a couple of stages. You've been at lots of venues throughout Lincoln. I mean, we're talking Sugar Cues, we're talking Aikido, Jolly Brewer, The Plough, the Birdcage. You've been all over the place.
So starting off, the beating heart of what we wanted to do was to get the community together, to sort of create a network. So we started doing the open deck nights. Shout out to Aikido for hosting us for like 2 years for that, man. That was an awesome ride. Going from being like on a little controller and a laptop and some karaoke speakers to going through levels of, then he upgraded to Bose speakers, bass bins, a full lighting rig, and XZ, and it was a really cool thing to be a part of that journey. And we really did start to like build that community. From there, we moved on to our first few bigger gigs, where it was just sort of seeing which venues we could get a feel for that would take us on. Because as a fresh promoter, without that evidence in backing, you really need to just find someone to take a chance on you.
So, and do you approach them for this?
Yeah, so like, for instance, what is now the Jolly Brewer at the time was Bentley's Bar 2 years ago. Our first proper event was a charity gig that we did. It was called Save the Mandem. It was an incredible day. Did the Digital Disturbance rig outside, 12-hour party. I think it was 11 till 11. And it was all in aid of CALM, the Campaign Against Living Miserably, the suicide awareness charity. It was something close to people's hearts after lockdown, myself included, losing a very close friend of mine during lockdown. And I think a lot of people needed a way to sort of vent that frustration but come together. There was a few DJs that had been personally affected by it that were on the lineup. A few of them had sought help from this charity, and were very congratulative about what we were doing, and very supportive. And to see everyone come together, I mean, there was like people bringing their dogs down in the daytime and coming down and having a bit of food and just hanging out for a few hours, all the way through to people were bringing their parents down and grandparents throughout the evening. And it really felt like our town had come together to celebrate something and support something. And from there, that sort of chucked us into a scenario where we could start booking regular nights there, start getting good content together, because content, as much as it frustrates people, it's so important nowadays to have solid content.
When you say content, what do you mean by like having like a portfolio where you've done?
Yeah. So we sort of built ours through Facebook and Instagram, having like collections of clips from different gigs, and word of mouth's a great thing as well, especially between different artists and brands. So we brought in a few different brands for that first event, worked closely with them. Shout out to Urban Kicks and Dark Nights. The Kicks boys are over in Hull. We've gone over there a handful of times. We brought them over here a handful of times, and that sort of like for likeness of like, let's share scenes, let's network. That really helps open you up, and gets you talking to more people. There's lots of opportunities that have come just from being straight-headed at gigs, talking to people, making a good impression, and then, once they then look you up online and check you out, it's like, these guys throw some good events, they get a good crowd, etc. Then it's, let's bring them here, let's go over there, and you sort of start to build that confidence in yourself as well, to go, well, if people are reacting well to it, then I'm going to take some risks, I'm going to move on to bigger things.
Exactly, because that's something that I can relate to. After starting the podcast, it's like, well, who's going to listen to it? I'm like, well, I've got a couple of mates who are like big into the drum and bass thing, so I can rely on them, and then it is literally just going to be like word of mouth, try and keep my Instagram account like active, and it's just about trying to, just like kind of have to like do what you want, but you kind of do have to cater to people, because it's like, I know what I want to do, but like, how can I deliver it in a way that it would be appealing to the market, kind of thing. And it's just about trying things. The best bit of advice you can give is probably just don't get discouraged by it.
Definitely. I think, in a lot of like ideologies, a lot of people just talk about consistency, which I think is super, super important, especially when it comes to the music side of things and for content and socials, that no matter if you are getting a positive or a negative reaction, but if you can stay consistent at what you're doing, then it shows that people can have faith in you, a bit of longevity. The Open Decks did that for us, having the consistency of bringing people down, getting DJs out of the bedroom, and showing that we're about community, and it sort of like us into a position where people wanted to support what we were doing.
And I think it like, I don't know about you, but like, it gives you like a kind of like a sense of purpose. Like, it's like, right, I'm gonna do this, and like after you've done like a big like load of work or something, you kind of be like, actually, I feel really good about that. Like, I feel like I've done something. You just feel good in yourself that you've actually like got off your arse and not watched like a Netflix series, binged it or anything,
man.
and you just do it, and then it gets addicting and stuff. And it's always going to start off slow, isn't it? Like, I think someone told me that the Shits and Gigs podcast we're going for like 2 or 3 years before they like hit big, kind of thing. And it's just, I mean, I'm not really like looking to hit big, kind of thing, because it's like, if you look at it too big a picture, you'll get discouraged, because you're like, it seems so far away.
Man. You can intimidate yourself. If you look at titans in your own industry, you're always going to feel small, but everyone has to start somewhere.
Exactly.
And, it's too easy to consume, and it's almost too scary to create nowadays.
Yeah, and that's what a lot of people don't do, is they create. But I know that you had some musical background before you went into DJing, but I was always into like my art and stuff, and that's where like I got the creating bug kind of thing. Nice. Like, I'm just gonna make something, and it's just so good. I mean, and the support that we've had, like, it's been incredible, because I remember we spoke to loads of people at the the Plough, and we got such a good reception, because drum and bass, I keep saying it's just special. Like, it's just a really good community of people. Like, I mean, I'm sure that some of my friends will go like mental over that, because every time I talk about drum and bass, I just go on about the community. But it's just so good.
It's a very welcoming community, and even through its like history, like the old jungle raves in like, say, like in hardcore raves in like late 80s, early 90s. That was the first times that like the Windrush Jamaicans and the immigrants were on the same dance floors as like skinheads, and no one cared. It was just about the music, the atmosphere, getting away from the clubs and the pubs, setting up out in some barn somewhere and dancing till Monday morning. Yeah, it's like I remember going to like illegal raves and stuff, and it's just something special, like having that like freedom and just being out all night, like
literally going back to your tent when it's like blue outside, it's absolutely crazy. But it's interesting that you've done a charity event, because I haven't really heard about that, and you've actually got another one coming up. I mean, this podcast will be out the day before this event.
Yeah, for the events of the 23rd, so the coming Saturday, just around the corner. It's
I can't wait for
at the stage now where the energy kicks in, like the nerves, but then the nerves motivate you. There's so many artists behind this one. We've got 37 artists, including 4 very talented gentlemen from down south. You've got Tolomic, Bleem, Oversight and Phlegm. These guys are coming up from Kent. They're incredible producers. I mean, Tolomic tours with Liquid City. He's just come off the back of his European tour. And we've actually got Freddie B. Big shout to Freddie B coming back. He's going to be on the mic for this one with Mad Rush. And he's just released some music with Tolomic, so they're going to be doing the instrumentals and going live for that during his set. So we're going to get a real live version of some released and potentially some dubs as well, some unreleased music. So
that'll be good. That'll like hit. Because the last couple of you've done more than one at the Jolly Brewer, haven't you?
Yeah. So since they've had their new owners and their refurb, being the Sherlocks and a gentleman called Adam, who's also got a venue up at the top of the town near where I run my business. They've taken on, they've given it such a lease of life and a great lick of paint. The place is very vibrant now, very alive.
It is.
This will be the first time we've worked with them since the reopen, but prior to that, when it was Bentley's Bar for a year or two, we did 3 in total. We did the charity gig, the Save the Mandem, and then 2 bank holiday gigs. We did the Bushido bank job, which was jokes. It was all about like cops and robbers themed. Everyone was in like the French masks and balaclavas and stuff. That was a really fun theme to run with. Had the rig all covered in police tape and stuff, didn't we?
You did. That was insane.
And then we did Fortune, which was essentially just like hippie shack vibes. It was just incense, tapestries up everywhere. We had bubble machines with UV coming out of them, and
it was so good because the venue, like, it's in the beer garden, the main event that you do, and it's just it's a vibe in there because they've got the TP over it, and it's like you're outside as well, so you get that like free party kind of vibe, like house party kind of vibe. It makes a hell of an
atmosphere. Like even simple bits like for a lot of ravers to be able to just like stand with a beer in one hand and a cigarette in the other, enjoy the atmosphere around them, the music, a little breeze, a little bit of sunshine. It almost gives you that festival feeling when you can breathe some fresh air, but you're in the dance when you're in the thick of it. And I mean, the boys from Digital Disturbance, like, always got so much love for them. They deliver such professional sound. Mm-hmm. I mean, they're up in Edinburgh soon, working with electrical sound system, hosting Ivy. Nice. That's going to be crazy for them, man. And I just really adore the quality that they bring to the dance. Like their Function 1 and their Void Rig is just chef kiss.
And I've spoken to those guys as well, because it was at the Plough that I wanted to put my stickers on, and I wanted to ask permission first. I didn't want to just put it on. And they were like, yeah, no problem, like, you do it, like, tag us in it as well, like, and we'll share it kind of thing. And honestly, they were so good. And the sound system was like so crisp on there. Like, because when you had the Plough, you had like an MC as well. It was so good. Apparently you got loads of like noise complaints with it though.
Yeah, so I think it was just unfortunate we were by the river, because I'm pretty sure the sound was getting carried down the water and amplifying, but when you got them low frequencies, they got a mind of their own. But yeah, people actually heard it from the Walker's factory, which I think's about a quarter of a mile away.
No.
Yeah. Well, some people turned up and they were like, we've been listening to this at work all day. So where'd you work? Like, Walker's factory. I was like, Jesus, man, that's like in town.
That's like free publicity though, isn't it? Free advertisement. It's like, oh, I can hear that noise.
Yeah, you know. Big love to Lincoln City Council, man. That's the most sound complaints apparently they had in one day.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, we thumped it. Needless to say, I don't think we're going to get invited back to the Plough.
It was a shame because that was really good as well. That was outside. They had a TP there. I can't, like, I had a baguette that I didn't think much to. But the thing is, I think I just chose the wrong thing, because I saw people with a burger and I'm like, that looks delicious.
I mean, the barbecue smelt great all day. I did my usual typical thing at day parties. I was just like drinking cups of tea for like the first 10 hours of the day.
Yeah, pacing yourself.
Yeah, because like I said earlier about promoters not taking their themselves or their brand seriously, like if I'm absolutely like smashed, it just doesn't look good, man.
Exactly. Because it's all about promoting. So this charity that you've got at the brewer, Which one is it for?
Yeah, so this time, instead of doing a national charity, like the last time we did with Calm, we're doing EDAN, which is End Domestic Abuse Now. It's a Lincolnshire local charity. These guys are incredible. They've really got behind the event, super supportive. I believe they've helped a good few thousand cases over the last 1 or 2 calendar years for, women, men and children that have been victims and in crisis from domestic abuse situations. It's something that's close to a lot of people's hearts. If it's not directly affected you often do know someone that's been directly affected by it. I think it's something crazy, like 1 in 10 people experience it in their life.
That's crazy.
And with the way that lockdown affected everyone and people centering themselves again, a lot of people I think lost a little bit of their psyche and sort of like drifted a little bit, became a bit of a worse version of themselves. I think a lot of negativity is being held in people still. And yeah, you do see it, man, especially from my time in nightlife. People being really vicious towards partners and others and patrons, and it's not nice. And it's really nice to be able to work with a venue and with a charity that have all got a common goal, and to be able to deliver an event. We've got a £1,000 target already pre-event. We are on over £100 raised. I believe it's like 115 at the moment for pre-donations. For the last event that we did. The Save the Man Den one, the suicide awareness one, we raised £1,300.
So it's possible. So
100%.
we need to get it done.
I had a little cry when I put that money in that account, man. I was just so overwhelmed and just so happy. And I even got a little certificate from the charity. They sent it for me. We were one of the top donators of the year, which I was super, super proud of.
That's so good as well. Cause it gives a drum and bass scene a good rep as well, because it's like for a good cause. Just
like you were saying about how the feeling you get from the scene and the community and the crowd, very welcoming, very open arms, very, very supportive. And I think that's something that we really do want to lean into. We want to try and get one of these big charity gigs every year for a fresh charity, and try and keep raising money for good causes, and sticking true to that Bushido code that I was talking to you about. The whole meaning behind it all is that we are about like honouring each other and like ourselves, and like building each other up, trying to do good and be good, but at the same time having a great time, throwing sick parties, getting talent out there, and delivering happiness on the dance floor, man. I think that's a big thing for us, man. Making people smile. Like growing up, I went to so many events and festivals that literally changed my life. Like so many breathtaking moments that looking back, I'm like, I've peaked. This is the most fun I'll ever have. And then you have an even better experience, and it's just this bottomless ocean of just enjoyment that if you're passionate about it and you love the music, there's no real end to how long you can enjoy it or how much you can enjoy it.
Because I tell you what, like at least once per rave, I'll have just a moment of clarity where I'll just like kind of like dissociate myself from the music kind of thing, just having a scan around, like see my mates, and it's just like I'm just thinking, oh, I'm so lucky to like be in this position,
100,
like and just enjoy it to the point where I can just do that, and then everyone's just there like, oh, you're right, because that's the only time that I'm actually still or something, and I'm like, no, yeah, I'm just taking it all in, because sometimes it just gets you, and it's like it's kind of overwhelming, and it's like, oh yeah, this is like a bit of baseline, because they're not lying when they say it's infectious.
Oh yeah, man. I mean, there are some frequencies that you hear out of some sound systems, and I swear they like activate parts of my brain that have been like laying dormant. Like some of the like the physical reactions I've had to music when it's been played out of proper sound systems at proper events.
Tell you what, I'm gonna tell the story again. When I was a UK Tech, and I was just walking by, like I got a little bit excited. I went to the front, and then I had to turn around to talk to my peeps, and then I just heard doof, 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 and I was like, ooh, and it just snapped. Something just snapped in me, and I was like, let's go to this one. And then it was just like Ben going, oh my god, he likes Gabba. And I'm just there like, is this what it is? You don't like it. It's so good. And it's like going to Equinox as well. They had a whole Gabba tent, and I ditched my mates just to go in there.
Man, like the brightest weekend in Lincolnshire every year, Equinox Festival, man. Like it's so deeply rooted into so many locals that I've known for years.
Because you've been going to it for quite a while, haven't you?
Oh yeah, man. Like since my college days, on and off. With my hospitality career, there were a lot of dates that I had to miss, having to work weekends and bank holidays predominantly throughout that time. So yeah, I did unfortunately miss a good few years, but there's no better event in Lincolnshire. There's no better place to be or go to really hear all the local talent and to meet all the wonderful and weird people from this county, all the hermits and the druids and the hippies and I don't know many festivals that you go to and there's a healing corner where they do gong therapy and yoga and everyone's got their dogs and their kids everywhere. It feels
so
like a pagan gathering. It feels organic. It feels natural. It feels
it kind of does feel like a village when you're there.
You go to these commercial festivals, some of the bigger names. I won't name any because I don't want to trash talk any events. Everyone takes risks and puts on great parties, but they feel very cut and paste. Everything's all tarpaulin sheets, tickets this way, bar that way. It feels commercial.
Yeah.
Whereas those smaller events that might be a little bit more low budget and not be bringing your top 10 DJs, you get that real festival feeling from them places because it feels unique.
I don't know. I think the year that I went, they had Nicky Black Market, and I was like,
Mate, Black Market slaps, dude. Slaps. It's one of the old guard of the industry, that man.
They had such a good lineup 2 years ago. I mean, I can't say about last year because I didn't go, so I didn't really look into it.
Oh, they had Kelvin 373 and Jay Selector headlining on the Saturday, and dude, the tent was that packed at the D&B tent. I was like, oh my god, it's raining. But in reality, the heat of all the bodies in there had caused like a river to run down the tent, and there was like almost just constant dripping at the corners of the tent, like rain.
That sounds like...
When you realise
that sounds like a vibe.
Physical sweat, it made you feel a little bit ill when it dripped on your head, you know?
yeah. I mean, luckily I wear bucket hats, so I'd be like, right, it's not seeping into the bucket hat. I'll just tell myself that lie.
There's a good natural advantage to the bucket hat.
Exactly. It's just rave uniform for me.
Amen.
Like, if it's a rave, I'm wearing that bucket hat. I've got one other bucket hat that I got at Nottingham because we went to Hooters, so I've got a Hooters one.
I can see it on the wall.
Yeah,
it's
there
a
we go.
Good piece.
The thing is, I've worn that once, and then I was like, nah, I'm going to wear my other one. Just
Save it for the rave, bro. Save it for the special nights.
Yeah, I mean, then give it to me at Leeds. Then we went, and then I just had to wear that all the festival. And then I was like, do you know what? This is what I'm raving in. This is what I started raving in. This is what I'm going to end raving in.
Yeah.
And it does annoy me when people grab your bucket hat. Like, people, stop doing that. Like,
it's those same divs we were talking about earlier, the townies.
Yeah.
The divs, they're just in there to get attention, get noticed.
Yeah. And it's like, it's happened to me a few times. Not like, I mean, I could probably count it on one hand. But it's like, oh, bro, just go away, man.
The same people doing that now are the guys that were doing to kids in primary school at the school disco. Like stealing your hat and running away, you know?
Honestly, we've come a long way from a school disco when they're playing Bob the Builder.
I mean, I could still get down to the cha-cha slide mid-rave. If someone dropped that mid-set, it would destroy a dance floor.
Oh, 100%. Like cha-cha now. That'd be so good, because a load of people are putting like so much different things into drum and bass. It's crazy, because we can go to Katy Perry, you can go to Lily Allen, and then it goes back to Bring Me the Horizon kind of thing. They're putting everything in it.
Yeah, there's because it's such an awesome format to make music in, and it's got that high energy. You can really play with how you adapt it and what you put in there. Like lately, there's been lots of like polyphonic noises coming into it with like boo and headaches.
Yeah.
Prior, a few years ago, the foghorn trend that like Benny L was piston heading, the whole industry got behind that for like a whole summer. Like the sound of D&B during the festivals that summer was just foghorns.
So do you think like drum and bass like goes through phases, or is it just like someone does it and then it carries on, or do you think it just like it just goes with the times kind of thing?
I think over the years there have been a lot of different styles that have been at the forefront. So like you'll get trends. I think trends and styles can be hand in hand, but styles will have longevity and will last the test of time.
Yeah.
A style will turn into a sub-genre, will turn into a culture. For instance, neurofunk, over the last 10 years has blown up. Now you have neuro heads that are doing incredible work and are holding just neuro-only festivals. Whereas there was a time when people were just like, what's this crazy experimental drum and bass coming out of Europe? Like, nowadays you've got like a lot of almost like an arms race when it comes to like the jump up scene and stuff like that. Like who can make the wobbliest, craziest tune?
I love a little wobble.
100%. And like for festival atmospheres, that kind of high octane, high energy drum and bass does things to people that are unheard of, dude. Turns people feral. And when you've got a few thousand ravers out there and you see people triple dropping jump up tunes, like that's the element where I think it really flourishes, that style.
Because I tell you what, like when I hear stuff like that, it literally, like, especially if I've got like my headphones on, it makes me take pause. Like I'll just be walking along and I'll be like, what just happened? And it's so good because I don't think you get that off any other kind of music. Because like even if you get like a good rock like music or stuff, it's more like a grunge kind of thing. It's not like a bang and then it's like something you just don't expect. I think that's what like drum and bass has that other genres don't have. That like manipulation of a crowd kind of thing. And I do think you have to like go to a rave to fully like appreciate drum and bass.
100%, man. And like great promoters, great artists, DJs and producers, they'll always try and take someone on a journey. Like if you're going to keep one flat mood throughout a song or a set, it can become quite stagnant.
Yeah.
But if you can bring a crowd up to like absolute 10/10 energy, and I mean 1985 are amazing for this. Shout out to Alex Perez and the 1985 crew, guys like Monty, Skeptical, absolute assassins at this. They will have crazy energy in the dance, and then they'll hit a phase and they'll just completely slow it down. The MC will be on the mic telling you take a breath, grab the person next to you, we're circling the drain, we're going again. And it almost makes the crowd band together because you're about to get pushed off another cliff.
Oh yeah.
And everyone's just going to lose control, but it's about, giving them that energy and then slowing it down, letting everyone breathe, take it all in, and then be like, you know what's coming again.
Because I tell you who's like good at that is like K Motions. He's really good at crowd control.
His crowd control is like notorious.
Oh, I can't wait to see him.
I don't know if he's a Pied Piper or a puppet master or some sort of Professor X mind control going on, but that guy can truly control a room.
So as soon as he puts on the he's obviously gonna put that on because he's coming to the showground, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yeah. Square One are gonna absolutely kill it this Easter with another mega lineup over at the showground.
It's so good, isn't it? Like hopefully, both of Fibes comes because I saw him at Void when it was just the one. We just went from Nottingham back to Lincoln, and then they were like, oh, we can actually still make the Void rave. Yeah. So I was like, let's fucking do it. Let's go. So we went there. Like I didn't get any videos because my phone had died because we'd been in Nottingham all day. But like Fibes is one I'm looking forward to. Serum and like K Motions. Those are my top.
Fat lineup coming out from those guys over there, man. And I think if memory serves me right, there are talks about me and a few of the Bushido guys potentially playing some music at the after party at Void.
Nice. Yes.
But don't know if I'm supposed to mention that as of yet.
Well, we'll see. We'll see. We can always edit it.
Mate, 100. But yeah, it's really great to have J4 and the crew from Square One over here in Lincoln, and sort of feeding the more open side of the scene, like the sort of more, like the top 10 DJs, the Beatport chart sort of thing, like bringing the students out and giving them those big gigs. Whereas I like to try and push a bit more of an underground sound. Yeah. And sort of like book smaller artists and bits like that, but having a titan like that throwing huge gigs in your home city, and God love him, handing out some sets to us guys, giving us some time behind the booth for these gigs. It is a blessing, and it's really good to see. We have great communication with the guys at Square One and the boys over at Intrusive as well, which did bits recently at Cubes with their Benny gig, their 1 year anniversary. We all communicate. We all talk about what dates we're going for, making sure that the ravers in the city don't have to pick between gigs. They have a nice week, maybe two, between different events. So was that like from the get-go as well? Because, I mean, Intrusive, like you said, just done their year. So after we've so they've only been on the scene a year. Your third anniversary is coming up. Drippy have just, like you said, have just come back to Lincoln. Yeah, working really close with Drippy over at these Cubes gigs. Shout out to Luke, shout out to Selps. Yeah. Great guys to work with. Like their label side of things, with the whole minimal and darker side of D&B, it really complements what we do with more of the sort of like jungle, more of the sort of free party side of D&B, and I think it's really nice for brands to be able to work together to a common goal, instead of having like a lot of competition, which you hear about in bigger cities. You hear about promoters like doing the dirty on each other, trying to book each other's DJs. I mean, I've even heard about people pulling fire alarms in gigs to try and like ruin other people's gigs and stuff, man. Like, it gets cutthroat, and I think when it's seen as a business and a survival tactic, you can really suck the joy out of it, and it can turn it into something a bit dark sometimes. That sort of gangster side of promoting the old school side.
And it can always put like the ravers in between the situation, because it's like, oh yeah, I do like the things, but like if they're doing this dirty kind of thing, and it's not. I don't think it's fair on the ravers to like make them choose as well, especially if like they're there for the music, and if one side gets one DJ and another side gets one DJ, and they have to like kind of choose kind of thing.
Yeah, you get quite a few scenes where they'll try and lock off resident DJs, so like, you can only play for me, but you'll be on all my gigs, and I think it really bastardizes the whole reason that we're all there. We're all there because we love the music. We either want to put on good shows or attend really good shows, and I think if we as a community can work on making Lincoln the best it can be with this upsurge it's having in the recent years since lockdown, I think it's going to give a long lease of life to the scene in Lincoln, and it's going to open up more and more venues to the idea of having us down, enjoying our scene, and seeing that we've got a really great eclectic crowd. We've got ravers that come down that are in their 50s, that have been doing it for decades. And we've got people that we're putting on the decks that are fresh-faced 18-year-olds that are dying to have their debut and putting their heart and souls into playing these sets. Some of these guys that are playing for us next weekend have been planning these sets rigorously for weeks and weeks, perfecting it so that they can really showcase the best of their abilities.
I know the Tri-Selector boys, and they just constantly going bangers and stuff. They constantly like give me like clips and stuff of what they've done, and I'm like, can't wait. They put out their like little demo for the SoundCloud. They put the SoundCloud track out for the for your event at the Sugar Cubes. That was really good. I listened to that quite a lot.
Yeah, that got a lot of plays, man. That got a lot of attention. The boys do a really good job, and they're very pivotal to what we do at Bushido, because they're sort of our segue into the student scene in the market.
Yeah.
Because it's all good in me being good at networking, but I'm a 30-year-old man. If I'm hanging around with 19-year-olds trying to go to flat parties too much, someone's going to call the police on me at some point.
It's not a good vibe. You don't want to have that rap, do you?
I got to know which level I'm on, and I'm on the more...
Play your strengths kind of thing.
100%, man, yeah.
Yeah. Because, so do you think you thought about this, like, when you were starting the Bushido, like, oh, how can we not, like, compete with other things, or did it just work out lucky and it's like, oh, you're just doing different things to the other labels kind of thing?
I put the feelers out first. I figured out who was throwing parties in Lincolnshire at the time. Drippy were on the scene, especially leading up to the start of lockdown. They were doing some great gigs at Void, some big gigs. Rude Awakenings as well. Shout out to Eddie Jory and the Rude crew. They're based over several counties, but have thrown a lot of Lincolnshire parties. So I was reaching out to Eddie, reaching out to Luke from Drippy, Joe and Ollie from Jacked, all these guys that had been on the scene and were about, and was just sort of throwing my 2 pence in and like, yo, I'm looking at doing this. I want to work with as many brands as possible and get a good network on the go. And I started like sort of quickly figuring out that everyone's friendly and wants to get on with each other.
Yeah.
But I think that just no one had really been building bridges. Everyone had just been sort of getting their head down and being like, right, I want to throw an event. I want to build a brand. But doing the open decks and doing this networking sort of made me quickly realise, like, there's a good bunch of people around here. There's like a good bunch of people that are all working towards the same goal.
Yeah.
And it was kind of easy to get along with everyone and get ourselves into a good stead and position to really build on something and get a following and a community behind us.
And what community that is. So I thought that's pretty ace, because you get all these like some events that just don't land, do they? But honestly, drum and bass events always land. So I think we've talked a little bit over half an hour. Should we go on the decks then? Do you want to see what you've What have you got for us then?
I've got some dubs for you. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to play a tune start to finish. It is an unreleased dub from myself and Ransom, who is one of the guys that's working with us towards opening our Bushido record label. We're sort of curating music at the moment, getting a load of producers together, including a few names we've mentioned today. But we're going to keep it slightly smoke and mirrors for now.
Nice.
And we're going to work towards doing an event for a label launch party over the coming summer. And yeah, I'm going to give you guys a little sample of what I've been working on, man. What I've been putting together.
Hell yeah, I've been looking forward to this. Right, let's go get this set up then.
Let's go, bro.
Right, so you take it away then.
Let's have it, man. Yeah, I was working on this track for months before we got it finished up.
And this is your original then, yeah?
Yeah, man, yeah. I'm sat on an EP now I've been working on for the majority of the year.
Yeah.
So just going in and doing sessions on it when and here and there, you know? Love this little spin back.
I was naughty.
And just sort of bringing that pressure down now. Ready for the second drop. This is where it kind of goes a little bit skits on us, man.
I'm excited. Yes, dude. Whoa, I like that one.
I think it's something like, we had one amen break and we made like 30 different versions of it.
Yeah.
And then just like all different variations and then tried to chop it in different ways. And we're sort of coming into that breakdown at the end now, letting everyone breathe again. And these strings at the end are from the BBC Orchestra.
No way.
Put out a free sample pack a few years ago, and they got some really, really awesome stuff on there.
BBC.
So I got some BBC rhythms at the end, bro. Yeah, so that's what I've been working on for a little while, bro.
Cold.
That's some signs of some things to come.
That's cold. I like that. Yeah, you had a little bit of everything in there, like a couple of little like niche techniques as well, like the rewind. Oh, I love it. I love those little like niche things in like soundtracks.
Nice, man. Yeah, I'll run you through a few tracks and a few blends that I've been enjoying lately.
Please.
Always got some classic vocals, man.
Oh.
Always.
Here we stand at the beginning, and the end always passing us by, and I can't dream for a
Yeah, DJ Hybrid here, huge inspiration for me.
Oh, that's so good.
Guy never misses. He recently dropped a 140 tune, a dubstep tune, and it absolutely slaps.
Has he? I haven't heard that. I'm gonna listen to
He
that.
drops dubs all the time, man. One incoming, a fantasy booking if I can ever get him. Samurai Breaks. This guy absolutely kills the dance. coming straight from under the dancer. This one. This one.
You gotta love those like little whoom, 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 whoom.
I need the drums up here and the bass line down here though.
This one coming straight from the dancer.
He's a savage, man. I'd love to bring this guy to Lincoln.
Where is he based?
Off the top of my head, I know he does a lot of gigs down south. I'm pretty sure he's with Jungle Cakes, if I'm not mistaken. But we know which agency he's with.
Okay.
Yeah, we're putting some legwork in. Me and Drippy have had this conversation about this gentleman. It's definitely on the radar.
Hell yeah.
And just them synths, that feel good vibe. That's what I love to have in the sets. It's not just all horror movie doom and gloom. You need something to waggle your finger to.
Oh yeah.
And spin someone around on the dance floor to. You need that feel good, that energy, man. This one coming straight from under the dancer. This one. This was a real nice blend because you kind of get a vocal acapella going on. This one. This one, Toby Ross, and it's a Nate's remix of one of his tunes. Two heavy hitting producers, man.
These are all vibes. Like, how can you not like dance to this kind of stuff?
That's what I mean. Your feet need to do the dancing for you. monkey business.
Oh.
I played this blend at the last Cubes night.
Really?
Yeah. Needless to say, it just damaging the dance.
Oh.
I'll finish up on a nice little number from Aries, man.
Because I've got to say, you are one of the DJs that you look like you're enjoying yourself at the most.
Mate, I'm like a Duracell bunny, it's awful, man.
Yeah.
Like, I got ligament damage in both my knees, but I'll bounce about for the whole set, sweating back out. It's hard not to, man. Because I'm really passionate about the producers that I play and the tunes that I play out, the vibes. That's the vibe I want on the dance floor, so I have a little party for one in the booth. Just never more than 3 beers deep. You get too confident, man. Start trying to do some,
this will definitely work.
yeah, I start trying to do some AMC style shit and it never goes down right. Yeah, lovely airy number from Aries. King of the dance, man. The amount of experience this guy's got in the industry. Obviously, it's him and Kelvin that run Born on Road.
Yeah.
And, yeah, a godly gentleman, mate. Particular 8 bars before the second drop. It's just beautiful.
Nice little cool down.
Yeah, man. In another reality, you can just imagine like an orchestra with a little conductor having it. Yeah, the sound design this man's curated for himself and for his label is just mind-blowing. And throws you back in. What I can do is as well as any tracks that I've played since my own dub, I can get those like named and tagged so we can add that to any description if anybody likes the music that's been played on the podcast.
100%.
vibe, boogie machine vibe. It's just hard to stand still, right?
Oh, just the beat alone, it's like.
Just some of the samples he gets away with sneaking in there, man.
Oh, I'll get them all showing on the podcast. Yeah, that was phenomenal.
Cheers, bro. Some
Honestly,
things I cooked up a while ago, man. That's a few of my favourite blends out of maybe my last few months of downloads and bits like that.
yeah, because I'll play you my bit. I'll play a little bit of my mix because this is the first mix, and it's like you said, you like those little breaks kind of stuff, and I did want to put that in there, and I didn't want to just do what like a lot of like starting and DJs going in where they just stop one song and just put another song on kind of thing. It's
big trend in culture at the minute, and I think there's a few DJ styles that have lent into it in the current scene. People like HeadX and Boo, the whole false drops, chopping, and it's a fantastic style. But quite a lot of young people coming into the scene just to see that is that's how you DJ drum and bass, which just simply isn't the case.
yeah,
And having a bit of variation in the way that you drop your music really means a lot, and that's how people like K-Motions read a crowd. Do you know what I mean? If he drops 4 tunes, 8 bars out each time, going absolutely sick, if the energy's still there on the dance floor, he sticks with it.
yeah.
If he sees people starting to slow down, then before you know it, rewind, nice theatrical tune comes in, something with a slow build up, gives everyone a chance to kind of gather themselves to carry on.
Because that's something that Bart touched on. Because I asked him, what do you think the most important bit of a rave is? And he did come back with the crowd. Like, you're playing for the crowd.
Yeah.
You ultimately are at their mercy. No matter what level DJ you're at, you are at the crowd's mercy. And you've got to read the crowd. You've got to try and impress the crowd. And you've got to make the crowd have a bit of fun, haven't you?
100%, man.
Yeah.
100%.
So let me see what you think of mine. This is I've played it for Tyler. I haven't played it on here yet. This will be the first time. I don't know if I'm gonna fuck up or not. Because it's always like I press the play on the wrong button. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. I'll play a couple. I'll play a couple of songs.
Are you switching through?
I'll just switch it here. Let's have a look. What do you think? You've got to get the first one done and out of the way, and then it's like that's the scary bit over with, isn't it?
100%, man. That's what them open deck nights are there for. So when you're feeling right, you come down, we'll get you on an early slot and just get you used to playing on a bigger setup, and then from there it's all really down to yourself.
That's what the boys are saying. Like they always say, get yourself down, do like the early one, and that'll be like it. Like once you've done the early one, that's how you break it.
Some good high energy there, bro. Liking this one.
Because how I made this was literally just mixing 2 songs together. If one sounds right, make a note of those 2. Just pair it, yeah.
Should look at keys, man. Mixing in keys like a cheat code. I'd say strictly, especially when I play out at gigs, I'm looking primarily just to mix in key.
Fresh out the bank, I do my little buff pound, know how to dance. Fresh out the bank, I do my little buff pound, know how to dance. Do my little buff pound, know how to dance. Fresh out the bank, I do my little buff pound, know how to dance.
The vocals and all these tracks have been like on point as well. And some decent vibes there.
Yeah, I try and get them each way. Sometimes they overlap a little bit, but I try and sort that, smooth it out.
Yeah, it's a big crux for some people, having like vocals clang over each other. And sometimes when you're freestyling, you just forget you've got vocals on both your choruses and your breakdowns. some
fun.
rhythms on there, bro.
Bro, nice. Because I feel like I don't do enough, but like I don't know if I have or not. Like I'm just having fun. To be fair, like that's what you
like
gotta do.
90% of it, man. Is enjoy it,
Yeah.
and the theory and the sort of like mechanics behind it, you can pick up along the way. You can learn from good mentors and friends, and people that want the best for you, that have been doing it longer and bits like that. They'll point you in the right directions.
And I guess it's the kind of like they've been through that journey, and either they had somebody that they like helped them, like mentored them, and they want to be that person, or they didn't have that person, and they were like, right, let's be this person that I didn't have for that other person.
Yeah, man, and it's the way I try and like describe it is it's different for live music than it is recorded music. For instance, if you're a guitarist and you're on tour, it's your amps, your speakers, it's your guitar, you tune it, everything's to your liking. Whereas when you're a DJ, you turn up with your music and you play what is there, you play what's in front of you.
Yeah.
And I mean, dude, I've turned up to some gigs with some dusty ass decks, like bad ones. I had an experience once with Bar. I won't mention the promoter or the gig at all because I do not tarnish names, but the monitor speaker had been on very low because the gentleman before us was switching with a lot of bass line, playing that sort of Yorkshire bass line sound, switching out songs like you're on a waltzer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was great energy. But I was like, oh dude, I'm going to be blending jungle, can I get the monitor speaker turned up? And the sound tech was like, yeah, no worries, mate. Absolutely cranked it. I got my first 2 tunes in, and I was playing on some really old 1000s. I think they were like Mark 1 or Mark 2s. Lovely decks. But the way that the monitor was leant against the mixing desk with the stand for it, every time I dropped a bass line, my tempo faders would dance up and down in the music. So I had to get the tune in, find it with my ears, get it in, and then hold on to the tempo faders to stop them dancing around on the decks. And then when I was ready to switch out or change a bass line, like quickly reach in, change it, like try and hang on to it. It was like trying to land a plane without an engine, bro. It was crazy. But you've got to go through them stress tests to learn more and to really rely on your ears. I think technology's great nowadays, but so many people, you know, you put out a gig, people talk about Ryder and what decks we're on, and they're like, oh, what kind of decks are we on, or which mark, and they're looking for like if they have a beat counter or a beat needle on certain CDJs, or can I play on an RX or an XZ because I know I've got the screen. But in your own time away from that, I always say to people with record box at home, zoom all the way in or all the way out of the waveform, so you can't use the waveform.
Okay.
Take your beat sync off if you use that. Take your all of your automations off, and just play with it with your ears, and you'll hear the slight echo of 2 snares not quite matching. And then over time, you even start to be able to tell almost subconsciously, like, oh, dude, the tune I just brought in is a tiny bit slow. Cool. And you just one quick adjust. And I always say to people that are bricking it on the day, I'm like, dude, you can only push a tune the wrong way once. If you've got a blend in and you push it one way, if it sounds worse, you just fucking put it the other way. And just have faith in yourself. It's all down to your selection as well. It's all good and well being an amazing DJ, but if you're playing gash tunes, you can mix them impeccably, but if they're not good songs for the crowd or for the energy of the room, it's not really going to go anywhere. It's going to land on flat ears.
Yeah.
So have a great selection, keep that energy high. But yeah, always try and work, even if it's just a few hours a week or a month, just work on your beat matching without any automations.
That's going to be my homework then, because I'm bad. I rely on it way too much. I mean, you can see I've got the phases as well up.
Mate, 100%. And when I'm formatting a set and things like that, like, I'll use so much of the software and hardware available in front of me. But it's about being able to go through that set and just know how it sounds. I mean, some of the gigs I've played, I've been super nervous about. I'd have like maybe a 40-minute set. I'd go through that set like 18 times. I'd play it for like 2 whole days after work. Like, just from after work, have my scran, get set up. Do you know what I mean? Get a little beer next to me, and I'm like, right, I'm going to play this set 4 times, and each time I'm going to take more automations off. And then for the last time, I'm going to try and just do this by ear.
Okay, cool. Yeah.
I had one particular gig at a festival in Skegness, Havoc Festival. Awesome place, like a 6-room club, held like 3,500 people. Each room was a different genre. And we were jumping on the decks after Nicky Black Market. like right after the headliner. So I'm sober. It's like 3 a.m. I'm rattling because I've had like 4 Red Bulls because I've been there forever. And I get to the decks and they're like Mark 1 2000s. So it's literally like a CD player. Like you don't have a waveform, you don't have anything. You just have the numbers of 0 and you press play and it starts to play and it tells you the time through the track. So I knew at 22 seconds into my track, my 16th bar, I'd find my first snare in every song. So I was fast forwarding to the 22nd second, finding the snare. But that's the first time I'd ever not had any automations to mix, and I was doing it in front of a festival crowd at a venue.
And that means like, does that include markers? So no markers either.
Yeah, nothing, bro. Yeah, they were like there were gorgeous decks, beautiful to use. The actual feel of them, the jog wheels, all the equipment was immaculate. It was just the oldest pair of decks I've played on. Like you don't get decks like that anymore in like Pirate Studios or in other venues in the town at the time. So it's the first time I'd touched hardware like that. And they were amazing to play on. The clarity, everything was awesome, but it was a real nerve-wracking experience. And I think you have to go through them stress tests as a DJ to sort of find where your comfort zone is and then push past it.
Because I guess, I mean, you'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it.
100%, man. 100%, yeah. If you're going to use the software and the hardware, just work at being capable of not having it there. Like, you know, it's all good and well having a run flat tyre, but if you don't know how to change a tyre, you're kind of not as safe on the road. That kind of like other little metaphors and anecdotes you can use for it.
Yeah. So like, just don't rely on it, because like if you do, because I mean, to be fair, when I was I had this set done for New Year's, and then my mate's like, oh, do you want to come and do it on my decks kind of thing? I'm like, yeah, cool. Plugged it in. None of the markers stayed where they were at, so I had to kind of improvise it, and it worked all right. I don't think I got it like spot on to what I planned for it, but because I'd played it so much, I got it roughly in the area.
Yeah.
But it was, I'll tell you what, it was a massive panic, because I was like, oh no, I thought they would switch it, because it's all new to me. Like that was my first mix, so I'm still learning all the ins and outs and just like how to actually like save it to your music kind of thing.
Yeah, man, I'd say a great online platform for anyone looking to sort of learn the mechanics behind building sets, and the sort of go-to for a lot of DJs and producers would be Crossfader on YouTube. A huge online database of different tips, tricks, lessons, hardware and software understandings. Like, you know, how do I use this sort of like software on the decks? Like, you know, what do these effect buttons mean? Everything from the bare basics all the way up to sort of your more advanced techniques.
Because I think that's like half the reason why DJing's become so like popular, is because the resources online are just there. I mean, you can go down for a couple of hours on a YouTube video and just like have a basic understanding on for like literally anything.
100%, man.
Anything. Like uni and college is kind of like redundant now, because it's like, well, you've got YouTube. Like,
I think for a lot of people, it's I think a lot of people that enjoy bass music, and I know a lot of DJs and producers, a little bit neurodivergent. People are on the scale, people with ADHD, people that are dyslexic, and these people are often very naturally creative. The way their brains are wired, they think outside the box. They have a different thought pattern to your regular person.
Yeah.
And I think they learn in a practical sense. So for a lot of my friends, they've been like, oh, I've sat and watched you do that mix, and I kind of think I know how to do it now. Whereas if you're in the crowd looking up at the booth, you just see wrists and elbows going, and you're like, God, this person's cooking up a storm down there. But the bare mechanics of it, like if you understand to mix in and out during phases, so not to just whack songs in willy-nilly left, right and centres, to use build-ups and breakdowns and changes in phase to your advantage, and to count back from drops if you're looking to double drop songs, to like have them both build up at the same time and in the same phase. And it's something that when it clicks for people, it really clicks. But then again, I know people that to this day have played all up and down the country and still have yet to put a song through Record Box. They just know, like I said at that gig, they know to wind forward to the 22nd second, and they've counted their way through the song before they understand the beat signatures in it, and they can just play the music and use just their ears and their knowledge to play amazing sets.
So do you think that's like more prevalent in like old school DJs rather than newer?
Like, I mean, I was born in the early 90s. I wasn't in the prime of the rave scene, but back then in the 90s and coming into the noughties as well, before digital decks and CDJs really came onto the scene heavily, and before they were really up to scratch, you had to be a geek, man. You had to be like an absolute. You had to be obsessed with music to be a good DJ. Whereas now the accessibility is amazing, but I think a lot of people try to run before they can walk. I think people are trying to replicate the chop-in styles and the triple drops before they really understand like just the etiquette of mixing music and how to best do it in its bare basics.
Yeah.
And then to up their game from there and find their own style. And I always stick by the words of, if you're going to follow trends, you will get attention. But if you can find your own sound and your own style, then you can build something that will stand a test of time, if not the test of time, and carry on.
Exactly, because when you get that sound as well, you hear it and it's like, oh, that's this person. I've talked about this on here before. Like when you hear a Headaches song, you know that it's Headaches.
Yeah.
Like when you hear a Serum song, you know that it's Serum because of just like they've got their own like it's kind of like a signature of the song, their signature sound.
100%.
And as soon as you hear that, it's like that's the or King of the Rollers.
Big producer for that for me, Amplify. Amplify has a very particular sound. It's very unique, and it does damage, man. That guy's sound design is off the charts.
Yeah, I love heavy stuff. Like I love like when it goes dirty. I mean, I'm always on SoundCloud, like looking at like mixes, and the heavier they are, the better. I love it.
Have you heard of the producer Emperor?
Emperor, no, not Emperor, no.
You should definitely check out Emperor, man.
I've got loads of homework to do, man.
If you want like the naughtiest, nastiest, experimental, wobbly D&B, that guy took me on a journey. I saw him at Boomtown one year. He was back to back with Mefjus. Shout out to both of them, man. And it was at the old kind of Boomtown when it was still over a larger area. I had Sector 6 still, which was like a Mad Max steampunk wonderland. It was like a broken down power station, all these crazy people with angle grinders everywhere. But they chiefed the dance for, I believe it was an hour back-to-back set. And I was in this mosh pit, bunch of crazy Canadian guys. Pyrotechnics are going off over our heads that are going over the mosh pit. And man, we sweated it out and hugged it out at the end. And dude, I missed like 2 sets after that because I literally walked back to my tent and just passed out. It was like midday. But I left it all on the dance floor, man. Like those guys took me on a complete journey.
Well, the thing is, like when you go to like an event like that and you go for that one person, you want to give it all out for that one person. Like you've been waiting all year for festival season. It's finally come, and as soon as they do it, because when I was at Leeds, one guy that I was excited about was Semtex. He brought it. I saw him 2 years ago when he was there, and he was even better the year that I just went. And I was losing my nut. I was proper going for it. Yeah. And then I fucked off to the tent and passed out.
Yeah, swear, man.
I was so sweaty after that.
Always need a cheeky Mars bar in your pocket. Get that sugar back up, lad.
That was something that I didn't take. like I didn't have any like munch on me. I normally do have like munch, but it got to the point where it was like, if I'm hungry, I'll go buy something. Like,
yeah, quick sugar's a good one at Fezzi's, man. I mean, I'm a little bit of like a bionicle at a festival. Like, I'll have like a camel pack with 2 litres of water on my back. Every bar I can get to give me free ice, I'll get them to chuck ice in the camel pack. So I've got an ice pack on my back all day.
That's good. I have a water bottle strapped to my wrist.
Nice.
Because if I'm the kind of guy that if I put it down, that's it. It's in the E for me. Like if I put it down, that's it. Like, where's your bottle? I don't know. And that's the one thing I don't want to be at festival without is a water bottle.
Yeah.
Because honestly, being ginger as well, if you're like in the sun too long, that's it. You're crispy.
Yeah, swear, man. Like seaweed.
I know they wouldn't even let me have the umbrella in the arena. Apparently, it's dangerous or something.
All it takes is a few biscuits to use something like that as a weapon, then all of a sudden it's on a list of things that people can't have.
Exactly. I was just using. I got it in once because I used it for shade, like a vampire, and I got some laughs and stuff. But then you get the other ones, and it's like the second time I tried it, they were like, "Oh no, you could put it over there," and I'm like, "Dude, I'm ginger. Come on, have a little bit of decency." But they weren't having any of it. They're like, "Put it over there." What I want to talk to you about as well is even in the mainstream, drum and bass is booming now. We've had Chasing Status won a Brit for Best Producer this year. They also performed with Becky Hill, turned the Brit into a fucking rave. Like, who saw that coming? Like, and it shows like all the mainstream that it's like it is fun having a rave. What else? I've got some like notes here. Skrillex won a Grammy for Best Dance and Electric Recording.
Yeah, that was with his big track with Flowdown this year, just gone, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it's like because he came back on the scene, and he's like even trying to do a drum and bass, and I'm like, fucking let's go.
Mate, 100%. I mean, I remember Sonny Moore when he was in, I think it was From First to Last, when it was an emo band. He was the drummer in.
Really?
Yeah, because he was originally a musician, an emo rock musician, and then moved into the sort of dubstep movement. But he was making hard house for a while, like really hard house music. And
Yeah.
he's now done garage, D&B, dubstep. The guy, technically minded, is like a bit of a pioneer. His sort of call and response style of music, where it'd be like the bars would push one way then the other, the panning that he uses and stuff. And he makes music that can sound amazing out of even like a shitty phone speaker, you know?
Yeah.
You don't have to have the sort of the wide frequency sort of like speakers to be able to hear all the good parts of the tune.
I remember listening or going to see Skrillex live at Leeds Fest 10 years ago. He was insane. He came out on this like futuristic like space tech tank, and he just fucking went for it. He had like trippy visuals as well. It was so good. And then he just took like that hiatus, but at least like he's getting recognised for like electronic music. There's been waves recently in fucking drum and bass. Like I can see it hitting like a new high in 2024.
Yeah, I'd say it's most likely the most popular it's been since like the days of like Moving Shadows and Metalheads in the 90s were like Goldie. Like I think he was like hitting like number 5 and number 7 in the charts in like 1995. Like we're going back a long way now, and the fact that this music's lasted for that long is sort of speaks for itself. And that trends will come and go, subgenres will arise and find popularity, but I think the core of it it's really gonna stand the test of time and be a prevalent part of dance music as a whole for like the foreseeable future.
Because I mean, if you go back in history, like look at rock and roll, nobody except people who like rock and roll were into it. Like Elvis got so much backlash because of how he was doing it, because it was so new and stuff. That other people looking into it were like, I don't get what this is. But everybody who's been to their like performance or something has been like gets it and is like, oh okay, cool, I really want to see him again. And that was back in like what the 40s, so it's like well the 30s 40s. So it's literally all it is just different packaging.
Yeah,
that's what I think. Like people are always gonna hate what they don't understand, and if you haven't been to a rave, you won't understand drum and bass.
Yeah, it's a feeling as much as it's anything else.
Yeah,
like being stood in that atmosphere, and like you said and touched on earlier on, having those almost like epiphany religious moments of standing there and taking it all in and being like, this is awesome.
And I do encourage people who haven't been to a rave to go to a rave, because it's something you will remember.
100%, man. And I think certain people have social anxieties and they mask that with drink and other substances, but I think if you can truly go to a rave sober and enjoy it through and through, you get the whole experience. And to be able to top up your experience with a few drinks here and there and things like that, it's awesome. But you do see some people that turn up to events and they're there more for themselves than anyone else, and they're just, I just want to get wrecked.
Yeah.
And it can either spoil it or make it for certain people. But those people will maybe go to raves for a few years in their life. The people that are truly there for the music, they're still going to be stomping in their 60s, man.
Oh yeah, like, I can see me being like an old school raver.
Oh man, I can't wait to be like the granddad of the dance.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, still have like a ginger beard, or like a very faint ginger beard when it turns like white or grey.
Faded tattoos from all your favourite festivals.
Oh, I'd love it. And just been like, oh, back in my day. Like,
amen.
Because you see that guy, I don't know if you've seen him at he's normally always at Void with the glow sticks.
I've probably seen him in passing when I've been through, man.
He's always got glow sticks, and he's always like dancing, and he must be like 50, 60 odd, and gives me faith in it.
100%. It's awesome to see so many like generations that still enjoy the culture, and it's something that feels truly British. Do you know what I mean? The rave culture truly feels like a homegrown thing.
Because we were touching on this when you came in, and I said to you, like, even if you hear, like, let's say, like, Camera and Crooked, if you hear them, you would be able to tell they're not from Britain. Like
Yeah.
it is not British drum and bass. It's still good drum and bass, but there's just something about it that has an aura, and you just know that it's not made in the UK.
Yeah, it's got that more like experimental twist to it, and the sound designs you get from these guys that are over the channel, like, it's on such like a big grand scale, like, you know, like War of the Worlds, the noise that the big walkers make, that
Yeah.
it's very much that sort of like I've said before, like that horror movie eerie shriekiness. But it's great to see so many producers over the years that have been duos and then go solo, then are parts of different groups, and people are always melding and trying new things. And yeah, I think there's been some really incredible trends lately. Obviously, I'm personally a massive fan of the fact that artists like Near Archives are really pushing that original jungle sound again, getting the amens and the breaks back in there.
Yeah.
The funner side of things, I think. Do you know what I mean? Where people on the dance floor, that it's a euphoria.
Yeah.
It's not necessarily like a grit your teeth in a mosh pit vibe.
I think jungle does have that. Like, jungle is like, so like you get a bit of that sky, and you just that like, oh, it just gets to you. Like, I don't think I see like many people not dance to jungle.
If it sounds like you're pushing 2 drum kits and a piano down the stairs, it's a good jungle track.
Is that what you go like you listen to it and it's like, oh, it doesn't sound like it's getting pushed hard enough. So do you think, for the people that don't like drum and bass, do you think that there's I asked this question to a mate, like, do you think there's one drum and bass song out there that if they listen to it they would like change their mind, kind of thing?
Big one for me, and we'll try and add a link to this in the podcast somewhere. Really prevalent tune for me. 2 of my friends went down the aisle to this song when they got married.
No way.
Yeah, High Contrast's Adele remix, Hometown Glory. If anyone out there hasn't heard that tune, that for me is like the epitome of beautiful technical drum and bass with like a vibe, man. That song's got a feeling. I've had some bad days where I've put that track on and all of a sudden, before you know it, I've cleaned the bathroom, I've got the washing on, I've made them phone calls I needed to make, I'm brushing my teeth while I'm doing my shoes up, and it kicks you into gear, man. I think it can be really inspiring in that sort of noughties era of D&B. Like, there was a really intelligent, really complex, like, beautiful vibe to that sort of scene at the time. And for me, that was when I first got into D&B, when High Contrast and Shy FX were still sort of like breaking through and bringing out their first few albums, and like some of the things they were doing haven't been done since. There was a lot of funk in there, a lot of like real like original feelings that were coming through those tunes. And I'd recommend anyone to go back and listen to the album Diary of a Soundboy by Shy FX, and any of the 2 first albums that came out from High Contrast, man. Like High Society, amazing album. I've not heard an album that's really touched so many bases like that since then in the scene.
Because there's like you've touched on it before, where it's like there's so many subgenres. So even if you don't like heavy drum and bass, like you could have maybe Liquid.
Yeah, and I think Liquid is nowadays more seen as poppy and commercial D&B, but in its prime, like, it is definitely its own feeling and its own vibe. Producers like Etherwood, the fact that gentleman plays every instrument and records it into his own music and then sings, and it is his own creation, his own like hippodrome of just creativity. I think music like that will just always be beautiful and always be eclectic. I think you can put some stuff from, like, especially Hospital Records, some of the tunes they brought out over the last 20 odd 30 odd years, like it unarguably, like, just beautifully made music.
Cause I tell you what, as well, like a load of DJs do have so much passion when they're playing and when they're like talking about the music kind of thing. They're not just like playing music for like playing music's sake. They're like what you talked about, like they're thinking about it. They're thinking about like how it fits in with like the whole like song, and then even when they're mixes, they're talking about like what's good and how they can take people through a journey, and like the care that goes into DJs when they mix. It's like it's incredible. Like it's very inspirational. That's why I was like, I want to try and get into it, because these people, they fucking love it, absolutely fucking love it, and they all they want to do is they just want to get better.
Yeah.
And that's the kind of like drive that I like. That's what I like to see in people, where it's like they just want to improve on themselves. I think it's so good.
I think you can lean too far into it though. There's especially with a select number of people that come down to the open decks. A couple of these guys and girls. Big shouts to all of them that are looking to break through and really get their first handful of gigs. Like, they can overthink things. Like, going through the same few blends 30, 40 times, and before you know it, you're like, I don't want to do this anymore. I just want to switch off, and I can't be arsed. I'll try again tomorrow. And I think you've got to be a bit forgiving to yourself. I like to plan sets for like posted gigs, for like actual gigs, open decks, bits like that, mixing with friends, going back to back. I'm happy to freestyle.
Yeah.
But if I've got like a set and I'm on one of the Square One nights, or when I've played at different festivals around Lincolnshire, you kind of you can get very obsessed about how your set's gonna go. But I think you kind of have to a certain extent, trust yourself and go with your sound, because you've picked up that booking for one reason or another.
Yeah.
And whoever that promoter, sound system, or booking agent may be, they have faith in what you're doing, and is to try not to play too much of the Beatport top 40 in what people want to hear. You think they want to hear, because I mean, how many times would someone have heard Badadan at Boomtown last year, right?
I can imagine. Yeah.
And it became a meme after the festival for a little while. These amazing producers, people like Simula, but now his tunes are getting rinsed so hard that it puts some people on the DJing side off of picking up and playing that music, because you're like, well, this song is done, it's rinsed, like, and then people, I want to find a better double for it and a better double for it, and it's like, well, why not just go in a completely different direction and give the crowd something they've never heard? And that's something I always try and aspire to do, is I try and play a set, and 9 out of 10 people in the crowd probably know one song out of the set. Try and find those unsung heroes, those songs that have only got a few thousand plays, that may have just been overlooked, because there's such a high turnover of music getting released now.
Yeah, exactly, especially when you've got like Chasing States dropping fucking bangers all the time, and it's like, well, obviously people are going to gravitate to that.
100%, man. Like the big hitting tunes, it's very easy to follow the trend of playing those, and you will get a crowd reaction. You drop some of those super popular tunes, people will sing every note of the song at you.
Yeah.
But you're giving them an experience that they've already had, and you're just relabeling it, which I think can be positive and negative. But yeah, find your own sound, incorporate things that are popular, but try not to lean too heavily into it, because if you run out of things that are popular to rinse, all of a sudden you've got nothing left in your arsenal. And it's always good to have something that you want to play out, that you enjoy, and see how it goes, man. Do you know what I mean? I've dropped some tunes before and some blends, looked up and I've been like, this is mega, and then gone, oh, nope, no one's really enjoying this vibe right now. And it does happen, but yeah, I think using a combination of inspiration instead of just what's the most aspired to at the time, it goes a long way.
Because you could argue it's playing it safe as well.
Oh, 100%, man, 100%. I find a lot of people that they'll be dropping these super popular tunes. I'd at times kind of relate them to a club DJ on a Saturday. I'm playing what's in the charts, or I'm playing, a bit of Jackson 5. I know that gets people going. And I think it's too easy to fall into that trap of being like, right, what's popular, let's play that. People will like that.
Yeah. So if you could go back to when you first started mixing and give yourself like one piece of advice, what would you pick?
Ooh, that's a difficult one, man, because I've really enjoyed my journey and how it's come along. I'd probably say to try more genres and styles, not necessarily to play out, but just to pick up more inspiration from, because now that I'm trying to dip my toe into the production side of things, and I've got a great group of people around me that are mentoring me, helping me, giving me advice and inspiration, I feel like the broader your spectrum of music, the more you can pull from.
Oh, 100%.
And there's too many people nowadays, I see them come through for open decks and stuff, where it's like, I love drum and bass, and I'm like, cool, what producers do you like? And they'll name 3 producers that are oh, I love K9, oh, I love Headaches, oh, I really like Chasing Status. And I'm like, okay, and they will literally just play what's popular at the time. And I'm like, you really like the music, I can tell, but if you'd open up a little bit more and listen to it from different eras, different styles, different countries, the small labels, you know, support small producers that are putting out these dub packs once a week, twice a week. Some of these guys are putting 8 hours of work in a day, pumping out multiple tracks, and they're overseen by algorithms, they're overseen by ravers, DJs alike, because they're like, oh, well, no one knows that. And it's like, sometimes that's kind of the key, to like throw a curveball in, and people go, what the, I've never heard that, what, whoa, and that's normally when someone leans over the booth and screams at you for a wheel up.
Oh, I love it when they do that. To be fair, like when I went to Equinox, I didn't know a lot of the DJs there because they were like either old school or like just not local ones.
Yeah.
And it was so good. Listening to all that kind of stuff, it was insane because you're getting, like you say, like a different mix. You're getting like people from different backgrounds who like different things playing. It was absolutely incredible having that kind of like diversity within there, and it gives you something like new. It keeps you falling in love with it. It makes it. It's like, oh, I like drum and bass, and I also like this subsection of drum and bass kind of thing.
Something that's popular at the minute that I think is pushing boundaries and sending people one of two ways on the fence is the whole 4x4 movement that's going on at the moment.
Yeah.
Mandy Dexterous has absolutely smashed it, and the whole Amen for Techno up north is just a sick scene and a fantastic way of producing the music. But I think it's rubbing some people up the wrong way, some of the purists, and I think it's a really fun idea to play with. I think that out of all of the sort of creative bits that are coming out at the minute and the new experiments and trials of it, I think that's something that could go down really well for a long time. What the things it does to crowds, man, when like 4x4 drops come through, like it's mad. Ebony that plays a good few events around here. Big shout to Eb. She's the queen of 4x4 for me, man. Like when some of the doubles she gets away with are savage.
Do you know, you wouldn't think it looking at her, but she plays fucking filth as well.
She's the sweetest, friendliest human on the planet.
She was lovely when she was on here, and like, but as soon as she gets on that deck, it's like, that's
mate,
mean.
Honestly, it's like throwing a grenade into a tip. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just dirt and filth flying in every direction. The girl is a straight up selector. She'll be going places in the next few years.
To be fair, I've seen that she's like performing all the time at Leeds.
Killing it in Leeds, man. Now she's at uni over there.
Absolutely killing it.
She's doing a sick one. She's playing with us in April at Sugar Cubes at our next event with Trex headlining, and I'm really excited to have her back down, man. She always brings fresh dubs. And a great attitude to the evening, man. Just a really easy character to get along with, and obviously like queen, man, slays the dance.
She was super positive when she was here. Showed me a couple of things on there. Yeah, she was great. We would love to have her back.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah,
man.
we have talked about it because she said she was going to Creamfields last time I saw her. So definitely want to hear some stories about that.
Yeah, I can imagine she got up to some shenanigans, mate.
Oh, 100%. It was so good. Right, I think we're going to like call it time there. So, again, just for the listeners, the next event that you've got on is at the Jolly Brewer. It is the 23rd?
Yes.
The Saturday.
If this show is dropping on the Friday, it'll be the day following. We're going from 12 in the afternoon till 3 in the morning. It's a 15-hour event. The indoor stage is going to be run by Matt and Carlos, the absolute G's that do rock, is it rock and groove, hi-fi? Beautiful reggae rig that they've got. They're going to be spinning vinyl all day through till 10:30.
Vinyl?
Yeah,
Shit.
man. All the old reggae and dancehall, man. It's going to be awesome vibe in there. And it'll be a nice little place to come and collect yourself and chill. Because outside, we're going to be running UK Garage, we're going to be running Liquid, Jungle, and towards the end of the night, a few heavier beats all the way through. So from 12 o'clock, both stages are running, and then at 10:30, we're closing the outside stage and bringing it inside to finish up the night till 3 in the morning. All of the profits from this event are going to be going to Edan, helping with all of the domestic abuse victims throughout Lincolnshire that they're helping and sponsoring and working with. For any kids that have had a rough ride, partners, male and female, that are unfortunately going through these crises. We're hoping to raise a target of £1,000. We're already over the £100 mark before we've swung the doors open. It's looking like it's going to be an absolute heater, man. I'm super gassed to be doing the event.
I cannot wait for it. I've been looking forward for it for a while. And the fact that it's a charity, it's like you go into a rave and you're actually helping. So Everybody get your tickets. Everybody get your tickets. It's
Yeah,
going to
man.
be fire.
If you get onto the
Absolutely
Jolly
fire.
Brewer website, they use a great merchant called Ticket Tailor, super safe and secure. You get all your ticket money through there, and there is even a donation link attached onto that. So if you wanted to not just put towards the event and also donate on top, that is definitely how I'd say about doing it. It's all going through on Just Giving. It's usually about 2 or 3 days after the event, all the money lands from the electronic payments, and I'll be able to load that all up onto Just Giving, and fingers crossed we hit that 1K target, man.
Oh, 100%. I'm rooting for you.
Woo!
Anyway, thank you very much for your time. I've had such a fucking good time here.
It's been a blessing, man. Blessing.
Exactly. So hopefully we'll get you again, and we'll get you at one with Bart at some stage.
Yeah, man.
That's going to be
we'll
interesting.
We'll get the heads together. We'll come down and we'll come visit you again soon in this sick little south that you've got.
Hell yeah. You're more than welcome. All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Right, peace out, guys.